Our next speaker, our next speaker is a trailblazer in leadership, development, and expert in self-direct leadership and driving force behind transformational growth in Toastmasters communities. Brahm Memone is the founder of Leadership Speaks, the world's premier advanced Toastmasters club, recognized as a top club out of 1,500 globally. With 3 distinguished Toastmasters designations, he spent 28 years refining the art of leadership communication and inspiring individuals to reach their highest potential. Beyond Toastmasters, Brahm is a highly sought after leader, coach, trainer, and keynote speaker, known for his ability to challenge conversational thinking and unlock new pathways for personal and professional growth. His Pro Speakers and Lead Training program has been consistently rated as a 5-star experience, equipping professionals with the tools to communicate, lead, and influence with confidence. Today, Brahm will take us on a journey of growth momentum, small ripples, big waves, where he will explain how small, consistent action can resonate a growth mindset and create exponential success. Please join me in welcoming Brahm Memone. Brahm Memone.
Great leaders and thriving clubs are built moment by moment, ripple by ripple. They aren't built in a day. And if you are filled with that intention and purpose, and the key is the word purpose, we can create thriving clubs and grow clubs anywhere. And I heard from Lance Miller. I heard from Lance Miller that we could have 2 or 3 million people. It's possible. It's possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get my technology working. Perfect. Growth momentum. Momentum, small ripples, big waves. And everything that I say today is real life experience with me in many different Toastmasters clubs over the past 28 years. And the key thing I find is the context. Why are we here in Toastmasters Club? What is a Toastmasters Club? What are we doing here? That is the foundational thing. I will be covering just the grassroots, at the grassroots what we are doing. And if the grassroots is solid, we can build anything on top of it. So what is a Toastmasters Club? Now, I know we call it a club because that's the legal entity, that's the legal definition. It's a club, obviously. This is how we pay our dues, how it's collected the dues, how we pay Toastmasters International our dues. It's a club. However, let's reframe that into what exactly are we doing inside a meeting or when we meet together in a club. I suggest that we think of it as a study group. It is a study group. It's not a social group. It's a study group with a formalized agenda. And this study group is studying what? What are we studying? What are we doing here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what we are really studying is communication and leadership. It's in our club mission. Most clubs, and every club, I believe, reads the club mission before the start of their meeting. And how are we studying communication and leadership? I said SDL. Well, we all know this program is a self-directed program. It's a no failure program. You pass at every step of the way. But why did I say leadership? I'll explain in a while. But if you are in a study group, if you were in a university and you were put in a study group, you wouldn't just turn up at a study group, would you? You would prepare, you'll make sure you have your notes, you listen to the lecture, and then you turn up at the study group with the other students and you begin to study, right? In a similar way, We have mentors, we have buddies, we have Toastmasters who are experienced that will mentor us before we come to a meeting, become prepared to the meeting. So now you see, this is a study group. We are studying with other people how to communicate and lead effectively. And if you are together, I had better know my part well as to what I'm doing. Now, when I say I have to know my part well, it doesn't mean I have to be an expert when I come on and start to speak, whether it's grammarian, timer, quizmaster, toastmaster of the day, the speaker, evaluator, whatever it is I'm prepared to come and present and learn from it with a feedback loop that we have, which is evaluations. But I have to be prepared. I need to know what am I going to be doing in this study group on this particular meeting, right? The key word is prepared. And therefore that needs some sort of habits, behaviors, attitudes towards our study group or Toastmasters Club, if you wish. Now, as I said, it's a self-directed group, and leadership is key word, leadership. Now, what do I mean by leadership? It's because there's a time commitment to prepare before you come to your study group to study. You know, I bet none of you were sitting at home twiddling your thumbs for 2 or 3 hours a week and saying, I've got nothing to do. Let me look up on my yellow pages or these days on the web. What can I do for those 2 or 3 hours? Oh, there's a Toastmasters Club. Oh, let me go find out what it is. Maybe I'll have some fun. You didn't do that, right? We are all very, very busy. That's right. We are all very busy 24/7. We have to sleep, we have to wake up, we have to have breakfast, we have to brush our teeth, we have to put on our clothes, go to work, come back from work. All those things we have to do. And now we've joined Toastmasters Club. Because, of course, most of the time it's our boss who said, go to the Toastmasters Club and learn something if you want a promotion. That's how most of the people that I meet come to a Toastmasters Club. Now you're a busy person, you better put aside some time to study. So there's a commitment, which is part of leadership. Now you see what it means. It's self-directed and it's leadership, and there's a time commitment attached to it. These are micro habits as to what am I going to do with my time to prepare to go to the study group so that they all feel that I've come prepared rather than me fumbling around and writing this. While the one speaker is speaking, I'm writing my speech so that I can stand up and speak. You are not going to be effective. It doesn't matter what evaluation you get, you're not going to be effective. Would you agree, Toastmasters? Yes? Absolutely. Time commitment. So which means in between the meetings, what am I doing? I'm planning, I'm preparing, and I'm practicing. Planning, preparing, and practicing, and then I will present what I've planned, prepared, and practiced. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is a learning institution. We learn through experiential learning. So when I come and I do what I need to do, I will learn something, I will excel at something, and there'll be a feedback loop. Whether it's a grammarian, it's a quiz master, whether it's a speaker, it doesn't matter what it is, there's always this feedback loop, right? And when we keep repeating this feedback loop, when we have planned, prepared, then we are going to be very effective as we go along. These are the small ripples that every member, when they do this, creates a strong foundation so that when the guest comes in, they see a prepared person who is trying to get to the next level, and that's where the feedback comes in. And the guest will say, wow, this is what I need. This is the sort of feedback I need, and this is, I see this is the prepared group. So now you begin to see the micro habits, the ripples at the foundational level. Basic stuff that we all know, yet I visit so many clubs all over the globe. I get invited everywhere. And I find that this is some of the things, the very basic things that are missing in a club. And if you don't know your role, or if you want to get to the next level, you've been a Toastmaster for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and you want to get to the next level, get a mentor. Get a mentor or an accountability buddy and begin to be responsible for the plan, the preparation, the practice before you arrive. It's not a social group to begin with. So surely we do socialize, and it's paramount that we socialize and have fun. But if you come to my club, you will never hear the word fun ever. And yet we have lots of fun. And it's an online club, by the way. So there's that certain responsibility that happens as a member. And we all know when we sign that membership form at the back, there's 10 points about our responsibility, right? And I think that we should reiterate that on a regular basis, what those responsibilities are for a member. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the micro habits. Every day, what am I going to do to better myself in Toastmasters? I don't need to be in Toastmasters for 20 years. I've been in Toastmasters, of course, for 28 years. But there's a reason. Every year, I really push myself to be better and better and better. Like 3 years ago, I couldn't have possibly done this sort of a presentation with all the stuff that's rolling behind me and all that stuff, right? I had to learn technology and be able to present in this manner. But there were micro habits that had to be put into place to be able to do that. And I continuously push myself and reinvent myself every year. And what does it take? Wherever you are in Toastmasters, whether you're a beginner or you've been around for 5, 10 years, it is the initiative, which is, of course, self-directed. Taking the initiative to go to the next level. Now, initiative takes a lot of energy. That is right. Because picture this. If you were to push a car, it would need a lot of strength and energy to push the car from standstill. But as soon as it starts to move, you need less energy, right? So taking the initiative, that's right. Taking the initiative takes a lot of energy, and you have to find that energy to take that first step. Because we have this in our mind, a lot of things are going on. We are busy and all that stuff, and all those things that we are doing in our lives to make our lives work. And now we've added Toastmasters to it. It needs a bit of energy to start and keep going. And to keep going, you need what? Consistency. So once you move and push the car, be consistent. Come to the meetings on a very regular basis. I tell my club members at least 75% of the meetings you should be there. And we meet every week because we are an online club with 29 countries represented by 60 members from all over the world. We even meet on Christmas Day because some people don't celebrate Christmas. So there you go. There's consistency for you. And that's your micro habits, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's also connect the dots. And in my group, Tom was mentioning this. Tom, thank you so much. Club Growth Director for District 45. Connecting the dots. We really need to know, why am I doing what I'm doing in Toastmasters, and how am I going to connect the dots between what's happening in Toastmasters to the real world? So here I am, right? I'm in a study group, right? I'm learning communication and leadership, but what am I really doing by doing that? Well, if I start my pathway, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and now on to level 5, I've done my first pathway. And if I'm practicing and preparing, it'll be a good curve. It's not a flatter curve. Yeah? If you're not practicing and preparing and doing, it'll be a much flatter curve. But this is a rising curve. And then I do my second pathway, right? And I begin to do my HPL projects and speak professionally and all that. And suddenly I see a steep rise in what I'm doing. And here's the reason why we have a level 4 and level 5 is we're really learning about leadership and speaking. And what am I doing in Toastmasters? Right? What am I doing in Toastmasters is really affects what's happening in the real world. Tom, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention in a little group at the break. You have to connect the dots. What am I doing here now that will give me the skills necessary to succeed in the real world? What are those key skills that I need to learn? And then you communicate that to your mentor and to your evaluator before you speak. Dear evaluator, sure, this is the purpose of the end of objectives of the presentation, but this is also what I'm learning because this is what I want to be in the real world. communicate with your evaluator because you, the speaker, and the evaluator, you are partners. You're not in the opposite sides of a wall. You are on the same side of the wall as partners. And so then they will help you say, okay, this is where you are, this is what you're doing, and I can see how that will affect you in the real world. This is the skill that you told me to look for. Here it is. This is my feedback. So that is connecting the dots between why am I in Toastmasters and now what I'm learning, the skills I can use in the real world. In Toastmasters, for the past few years, I've learned how to speak effectively on Zoom and do Zoom presentations out in the real world. And therefore, there has to be a vision alignment. And what do I mean by a vision alignment is why am I in Toastmasters? Okay, sure, it's a study group. I want to get better to be in the real world, but that's vague, right? We have to have very specific goals for ourselves as to what exactly it is. Why am I here in Toastmasters? Why am I in this study group studying communication and leadership? What's my vision? To do that, let's look at the club mission and our mandate, which is your mandate. It's everybody's mandate. It is, of course, the club mission is the key thing for us all, right? It's the foundational thing. We provide a supportive, positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The key words being developing communication leadership skills. So if I'm in this group, how am I developing myself? What is my vision of where I'm going to get in the real world? Real world scenarios. Tom, thank you so much for bringing that in the study group. Obviously a great club growth director. So you have to be aligned and congruent to the mandate, and you should be speaking or doing some sort of a role on a regular basis. And so real world situation, that's what we are learning. This is not a theater, right? Where we come and perform and then we go home and have a cup of coffee and we're done. So we need to know why. And here's my why, and I'm sure that you have a why as well. And this has been consistent. This is all about mastery for me, because I've been in Toastmasters for 28 years. And depending on how long you've been in Toastmasters, what is your why? Here's mine. Ongoingly, to speak with conviction and confidence and credibility. It's very, very important that we speak with conviction and that there's credibility, because trust is so important. When you gain trust of your constituents, the people that are listening to you, they will trust you and they will follow what you're saying. They will, of course, be inspired, informed, influenced, persuaded, right? It's all in level one, what we are trying to do. And you're credible as a speaker, as a leader. And therefore, for me, it is the ability to articulate my thoughts and ideas into highly engaging messages that make an impact. That is my why. This could be your why too, right? And I am here to inspire, influence, inform, persuade, not to entertain. I can do entertaining speeches, and that's not my forte, and I don't do that in my training in the real life, so I don't have that in my in my skills, right, that I'm trying to polish up at Toastmasters. And the most important thing is enhancing your critical thinking, because I find that when people are putting together their presentation, they're putting their presentations 2 or 3 days before, or on the day of their presentation, there's no critical thinking. How can you have critical thinking in your presentation if you haven't really planned and prepared way ahead in time and said, what is the audience's takeaway? That is right. What is the audience's takeaway, the call to action? And based on that, what's going to be my opening? What's going to be my title? How am I going to construct my 7-minute presentation so that there is a takeaway for the audience? Critical thinking is so important. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, your return on investment. Guess what? Your return on investment is key. How much do we pay Toastmasters International? $60? Only $60? You go to Dale Carnegie, you're going to spend thousands of dollars for the same value. And here you got a very supportive group. But here's the thing. The return on investment is huge. And yet, because it's only $60, people tend to diminish the value they're getting out of Toastmasters. And I totally disagree with that. They will say, I don't have time, this thing came up, that thing came up, I'm too busy, and all those millions of excuses, especially if you're the VP of Education. You know that, right? You know that very well. So this is the thing that we have to instill in our members. So why are you here? It's a study group. You're studying communication, leadership skills, and what will that do for you in the real world? So, ladies and gentlemen, in summary, therefore, I submit to you that it's a self-directed study group. I need to have some micro habits to be effective in the study group. I do not want to let my team down. It's a team. It's a community of people coming together. And if I just turn up without knowing why I'm there, I'm not lending anything to the study group. I'm actually bringing it further down. If I'm prepared, then we are going upwards and a steep slope and very quickly get to where I really need to go. Micro habits, connecting the dots. Why am I here? Am I being effective in the real world as I go along? It's not for fun. We are not here for fun. Yet we do have fun. Yet we do socialize. And therefore, you need to know, why am I here? What are my real skills that I'm gaining? For me, confidence, conviction, credibility, articulating my thoughts, right, in a manner that will make an impact, and so on. And my return on investment is therefore huge, huge. Those are the ripples, ladies and gentlemen. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much,